It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll go outside for a while and just smile. Just taking some clean, fresh air. Staying inside. If the weather's fine and you got the time, it's your chance to wake up and plan another brand new day. Either way, it's a beautiful morning.
Oh, yeah. The Rascals. I never knew that was their name. A beautiful morning. It is not a beautiful morning. It was, what other word describes today? Gross. It was gross. Rainy, cold, just that classic March weather. It's like, oh, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Psych, cold, rainy day. Gets me every time. I fall for it every time. Getting a little bit of a late start. I had some carpet cleaning going outside of the studio. As per usual, I do share this space with a carpet cleaning company. Kind of, it's really just a next door neighbor. He stores his stuff here, and they're constantly. They have like a generator in the van that they use to clean carpet, and they just park it like. They couldn't have parked it any closer to the studio. I was about to ask them if they just wanted to park it in here. You want to park the van inside here, guys? I mean, it technically is a garage. You might as well. And just cleaning carpet. And then, of course, the guy has to, once he's done that, I'm like, oh, thank God. Woo! That's over. I can start the show. Then he's obviously got to call his boss and scream in Spanish for the next 10 minutes. Yeah, sí, es finito. Blah, blah. Dude, why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? Sounds like a fucking Domino's kitchen outside my fucking door. Why are we screaming in Spanish? I got fucking Carnival outside. I'm trying to do a goddamn show. I mean, for crying out loud. My name is Jimmy Selesky. Glad to be here, as you can see. Glad to get going. We got a pretty solid show for you today. I want to talk a little bit about Nikki Haley dropping out, finally, for some reason, just now. Super Tuesday. The results are in. You won't believe what we found. And we might even get to some Twitter stuff today. Budgie, our number one commenter of last week, noted that I didn't even talk about Twitter on Twitter Tuesday yesterday. And he recommended, dude, what if you did like with X Wednesday, but like Wenks Day? And we both acknowledge that that's maybe the worst thing ever. But I like it. So maybe we'll get to some X Wednesday stuff later. I got a lot in the backlog. I just saw a pretty interesting video right before we got kicked off. But first, let's talk about politics. I mean, what's more fun than politics? Right, kids? Yay! 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 As I mentioned earlier, Nikki Haley has dropped out of the Republican primary election. Can you believe it? I mean, can anyone believe it? What was she doing? Don't answer that. Stop. Don't answer that. I'm going to answer it rhetorically. She was a what's the word I should use? Pawn? Double agent? Double agent is cool. That makes her sound cool, though. I don't think she's cool. Double agents are pretty usually cool, right? Like, was James Bond a double agent, or was he just a 00? I don't know. I thought that's maybe what it meant. Nikki Haley was running in the Republican primary to undermine Trump in that election. This is we should know this. If the person you listen to on a daily basis politically is not saying that, you need to switch the person you're listening to on a daily basis because they're not with it. They're not on it. She was in that race to create an illusion of division within the Republican Party, as if to say, there are a lot of Republicans that aren't really sure if Trump's who they want. Bullshit. Bullshit. Something like 70% of Nikki Haley's voting base was Democrats in open primary and in open primary states and independents in semi-open primary states. That's the best one. The independents, the completely liberal-leaning, non-registered to a party independents that, vote for Nikki Haley as a vote against Trump. She was the anti-Trump vote for the primary before you get to the general where Joe Biden will be the anti-Trump vote. Like I said before in several podcasts, it almost worked on me. When I saw the initial results from like the New Hampshire primary and she got like something like 37, 38, somewhere around like 40 ballpark percent, I was like, what? You're telling me that 40% of Republicans, 2 in 5 Republicans prefer Nikki Haley to Donald Trump? I haven't seen that. Maybe that must be like a New England thing. Maybe it's something in the clams up there. And then you look into it further and you realize that among registered Republicans, Donald Trump won like 80% of the vote, and Nikki Haley's votes were something like 75% independent or something like that, like something ridiculous. So these results are misleading, purposely misleading. But nonetheless, the gig is up. The jig is up. The jig is up. And she's out of there. God, I gotta say, I really, really hope, because people have pitched her name around as a potential vice presidential candidate. Please no. Please no. I like to believe that Trump is already aware that that would suck. To put it in official terms, if I was in the war room, the situation room with Trump, and I'm like, sir, he's like, we have intel that says that a Nikki Haley vice presidential candidacy would suck. 10-4. It would suck. There's so many other good picks. There's so many good. Like, here's the reality. Here is the reality, folks. I've heard this said in the past, and by God, I'm starting to agree with it. We may never see in our lifetime a white man presidential ticket ever again on either side of the aisle. Now, am I saying that because I am furious that we can't have two whites running for the White House? Gotta let your Chinese, your women. No, that's not why I'm saying it. I'm saying that if you're trying to keep your eyes peeled, which I always thought was a gross expression, if you're trying to keep your eyes peeled to see who is in the running for a vice presidential spot here, any white guy that just crossed your mind, rule him out. Nope. Bye-bye. No. It's got to be a woman. It's got to be either a woman or a person of color. Or if you're really going for gold, if you want to hit the jackpot, oh my God, whoa, I got it. A woman of color. Did you feel that? Did you feel that? But this is a Republican Party, so we're not going to go as far as to, we're not going to climb that far up the intersectionality tree. But we will, regardless, seek to fill that position with some type of identity politics. I just believe that. I think that, particularly as it pertains to Republicans, they're constantly trying to prove that they're not racist. That's like a Republican's number one job when they wake up in the morning, is defend the fact that they're not racist. And so in doing that, I think it's highly unlikely that we won't get a woman candidate or a male candidate of color. And again, I'm not saying that because I think that's wrong. I'm saying it because I think it helps us narrow down the field of potential candidates. I'm just trying to figure it out like you, okay? Excuse me for using real logic. So Nikki Haley is technically in, but I don't think that's going to happen. Vivek could be in. That would be sweet. I haven't heard much from Vivek in the past month. Tim Scott, I've heard, thrown around. And you know what the unfortunate thing is? But it could never happen because of reasons I just explained. Would it not be the sickest thing ever? I'm gonna let you sweat this one, because I want you to feel the magnitude of this idea when I say it. Would it not be the sickest thing ever if Trump picked RFK as his vice president? Robert fucking Kennedy. That's right. I've noticed people start calling him Bobby lately. I don't like when people who don't know people, celebrities, refer to them as like they're like, oh, we're buddies name. Like, well, a lot of douchebags do that. It's like a douchebag thing to do. Like, not like a douchebag my age thing to do, but like a older boomer douchebag, like, you know, your dad's age type of douchebag that's like, oh yeah, me and Bobby De Niro used to hang out. It's like they do that on purpose to make it seem like, oh yeah, well, you know, most people call him Robert De Niro, but like, I know the guy. He goes by Bobby. I call him Bobby. It's like, no, you don't. That guy, Robert De Niro, I know who the fuck you are. Calling him Bobby De Niro like you went to fucking kindergarten together, please. I notice everybody's calling Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Bobby Kennedy now. I'm on to you guys. I don't think you're all that close. Okay? It's RFK. Not everybody gets a sick acronym as their name, but you want to sound cool and call him Bobby Kennedy. No, I'm not letting it slide. If you didn't call him Bobby Kennedy last year, you don't get to call him Bobby Kennedy this year. That's the rule, okay? If you fit into that category, switch it up, because I'm not letting this one go. That annoys me. But that would be a sick ticket. I mean, first of all, you have the backstory, and America loves a backstory. And I said that, bringing up the fact that he used to be a Democrat, and now he would, in theory, be on a Republican ticket. That's not the backstory that most people think of when they think of the Kennedys. I hear there's some other stuff going on. So that's a given, though. That's why I didn't bring that up. Obviously, his father, his uncle, forgot which is which, to be honest. Whichever one was John F., whichever one was Robert F. You know what happened. Do I have to say it? The CIA killed his family. That's pretty fucking deep. So you have that. Then you have the fact that he ran as a Democrat, then switched to independent, Unlike some very popular Democratic candidates who were completely fucked over by their own party, Bernie Sanders, who instead of running as an independent, cucked out, pussied out, and just endorsed who they had just spent the past year claiming was the absolute worst thing to happen to American politics in Hillary Clinton. I lost a significant amount of respect for Bernie Sanders when that happened. I think he's a fine guy, but I think much like most socialists, he's got a weak spine. Anyway, I think that if we got someone like RFK as vice president, that might be the smartest thing Trump could do. And I know that a lot of people would say, no, Jim, you're wrong. No, actually, my opinion is right and your opinion is not right. I know a lot of you are thinking that. A lot of you are thinking that you are correct and I am incorrect. Well, here's the thing about being wrong or right, people. Not a single person in the history of debate has ever thought they were wrong. That's how being wrong works. The trick about being wrong is you still think you're right. That's what makes you wrong. So, I think that there's a lot of people that got really, really amped up about RFK during his campaign, even whilst he was running as a Democrat, including myself. There's also a lot of people who fuck with Trump. Kind of. They don't fuck with Trump. They just prefer him to Biden. Or maybe they just don't fuck with Biden and also don't fuck with Trump. That's where RFK comes in. He's a liberal-ish, centrist guy that appeals to, I think, the fence sitters. Which, if you're asking me, I don't really think there's that many. I don't really think there's that. I'll tell you what, I never met one undecided person in my life. Can Gala do a poll on that? Hey, New York Times, can you do a poll on why it is that apparently we have this large swath of people in America who are undecided? Oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to need to hear a little bit more out of these candidates. You know, we've been hearing from Trump and Biden. Well, we've been hearing from Trump and Biden for the past 80 years, but I'm still not sure. You know, every time I think I like one of them, the other guy does something, and now I can't decide again. It's just such a toughie. I like Trump. I like Biden. Oh, my God. Can't I just have my cake and eat it, too? Who is that guy? Have you met that guy? Give me a call. Give me a fucking call. I'm happy to give my phone number out because I don't think there's a single fucking person on the planet that is going to call me. A, because you're probably not watching this, but B, even if you were, you don't know anybody who's undecided. I don't know who these people are, but apparently they exist. And if they do exist, these mythical undecideds, RFK is going to bring him in. And here's the even worse thing, or the better thing, shall I say. If Trump brings in a establishment candidate as his VP, they're going to assassinate him, right? Like, serious. Like, if Nikki Haley is his vice president, they're gonna he's 80 something years, 78, 79 years old. They'll fucking give him a bad tuna sandwich or something. Fucking, oh, he died of natural causes. He was 79 years old. They're going to fucking get rid of that motherfucker if the next person in line is someone who's willing to play ball. If Nikki Haley is the next person in line, Donald Trump is going to be assassinated so quick, he's not going to get to swear on the Bible yet. I hate to say it, but I really think that. You know? RFK is your vice president? Now you fucking assassinate Trump, the next guy in line is even more anti-fucking corporate, anti-pharmaceutical companies, anti-all this shit. You don't want that guy. You're like, fuck, well, Jesus Christ, I hope Trump makes it the next 4 years, because if not, we're going to get fucking RFK. I'm coming for you, motherfucker. That was a terrible RFK impression. You're gonna assassinate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I think nobody's going to be like, this is getting a little strange, is it not? A Kennedy? Again? So Trump is basically guaranteeing himself that he's not going to get killed if he brings on RFK. If he brings on Nikki Haley or maybe even a person like Tim Scott. I don't really know Tim Scott. I know he has 2 first names like a country singer. So that's a plus. But that's about the only thing I know about him. Is he from one of the Carolinas, north or south? Maybe. Who knows? He seems like a nice guy, but he seems like a politician. You know? You have guys like Vivek who are not politicians, but I don't really think Vivek appeals to anyone that Trump doesn't appeal to. I think that the Venn diagram of Vivek fans and Trump fans are a singular circle. So I don't know if Vivek brings anyone into the fold. Maybe like 4 Indian dudes who are like huge Ramaswamy heads, but aren't really sure about Trump. Maybe those are the undecided people. The Indian decided. Indian decided. Maybe if I say it again, it'll be funny. I'm not going to try. Also in the news, aside from the fact of all the facts, provable, true, undebatable facts I just hit you with. Super Tuesday yesterday. Wasn't it just super? Super. 16 states in the primary phase of their elections. I bring this up because I have nothing else to talk about. But not just that. There's some things to say. I have things to say about it, guys. Like, for instance, Joe Biden won all the states. Are you glad you tuned in? See? I told you I had something to say. Joe Biden won all the states. Did anyone see that coming? Obviously, Joe Biden won all the states. Significant amount of uncommitted, though, in certain states. Minnesota was 20% uncommitted. That's big time, dude. 1 in 5 Democrat voters in Minnesota said, I ain't backing that motherfucker. I ain't backing no one. Fuck this shit. I do think that it really has mostly to do with the Palestine thing, which is like, look, at the end of the day, the Democrats simply cannot win. And when I say win, I don't mean the election. I mean, they cannot win with their own ideology, even among their own base. Here's a video you've probably seen. This is AOC being like followed around in a movie theater, it looks like, or something, by some Palestine people. So
You refuse to call it a genocide in front of everybody.
I need you to understand that this is not okay.
It's not okay that there's a genocide happening. You're not actively against it.
You're lying.
I'm lying.
You're not.
You went on TV and avoided talking about it.
For what? You just not laugh. You can't say it's a genocide or what? You're just acting for political base. You can't call it a genocide. Then how do you say we're not lying?
We're not lying.
You've been
We went on
saying it in
TV.
interviews. It's insane. You haven't been calling it a genocide. Don't tell me I'm lying. Then just say it's a genocide. Just say it. Over 30,000 people are dead, AOC. You can't just say it for once. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want you to say. Or you're not angry about people confronting you publicly. You can't call it genocide. Over 30,000 people have died.
Stop. Okay? Stop. Stop.
We're not doing anything. We're just talking to an elected politician. That's all we're doing. That's it.
Cut it, and you're going to cut this, and you're going to clip this so that it's completely out of context. I already said that it was, and y'all are just going to pretend that it wasn't over and over again. It's fucked up, man. And you're not helping these people, and you're not helping them.
You refuse to.
You're not helping them.
It's fucked up, man. No, I'm not going to lie. I kind of, like, there's a part of me that feels bad for her in that situation because people are fucking annoying. And I would never do what those people are doing. Like, really, no matter how much I hated a politician, like, I just don't see that as an effective I don't see what it's not effective at anything. Like, what are you achieving? I guess the goal is to exactly this, create some type of clip and gain virality for it, for the fact that she won't call it a genocide. Here's the takeaway, though. The takeaway is, when I introduced this clip, that leftist ideology is so strict. And so if you're not 100% with us, you're 100% against us, that there is no room for nuance in any of these arguments. In order to be the darling of the left, you must toe the party line in every single way possible. Now that I'm thinking about it, I cannot think of a single progressive leftist politician that in any way breaks away from the party line on any issue that is still loved by the left. Can you? I mean, I can think of leftist, maybe pundits. The only one that even potentially comes to mind is Bill Maher. And at this point, Bill Maher is more well regarded, I feel like, on the right than the left. And Bill Maher is a liberal guy. He's just been kind of pushed to the center because the left has gone so far left. But this is what you see. You know, on the right, there's all kinds of different, like, people love RFK on the right. RFK had to stop running as a Democrat, even though he, you know, does all these things for LGBTQ, whatever the fucking letters are. He does, you know, like, but he has some opinions that are contrary to the leftist doctrine, the progressive list of things you're supposed to think, the left commandments. And so I don't even think people on the left knew he was running. I remember talking to people who are Democrats or vote Democrat, and I'm like, yo, you got to look into this RFK guy, blah, blah, blah. They're like, isn't he running as a Republican? The media so ignored RFK that the average Democrat didn't even know who he was. Or if they did know who he was, they just assumed that he was running as a Republican because they heard nothing but negative press about him all day, every day. And so when you exist and thrive in that environment, that, you know, you have to be 100% with us or we're going to fucking erase you. This is the ultimate end game of all of those situations for all those people. It's not, first of all, it's clearly, it goes without saying that a party based on, or an ideology that requires 100% lockstep on every single topic is no longer a political party. That's a religion. Religions are based off of tenets and, this is what we believe. We have faith. This is what we say. This is what we do. We do our cross this many times. We kneel when the priest says this. That's a religion. And a political ideology that does not allow room for nuance, aka the progressive ideology that mainstream Democrat politicians have trouble just being able to say, look, guys, I'm all for abortion, but there needs to be a limit. We can't be doing this we can't be doing late term shit. We got to figure out a line and cut it there. I don't want it to be 6 weeks. That's too early, but fucking make it 4 or 5 months, whatever. Let's come up with something sensible. You can't do that. There is no room for nuance because the way they look at it, it's not about the baby or the fetus, whatever you want to call it. It's about a woman's right. If you talk to someone who is pro-choice, super pro-choice, I think there's a lot of people that are pro-choice, but just sensible about it. I consider myself one of those people. I'm not completely anti-abortion. I just think it's wrong, and I would not like to see it happen too late into a pregnancy. I think that's most people, at the very least, that last half. But the idea of the life inside the woman never even comes to the table. It's just 100% about a woman's right. And that's how they're able to be in lockstep, because they ignore 90% of the argument and just whittle it down to its lowest common denominator, which is women get pregnant. Well, now, but that's the other thing. So before I get off topic, women get pregnant. Women are the ones who decide to go through with the pregnancy. Therefore, if you're against abortion anyway, you're against a woman's right to choose. It's that simple to them. There is no other aspect of that argument. And that's how you maintain lockstep. So you actually maintain lockstep by ignoring the actual thing that we're discussing and just focusing on whatever you've been told to focus on about that issue, which is also why it's so hard for people that subscribe to that ideology to conceive of the idea that anyone disagrees with them. Because, like I said last week, as it pertained to the Israel-Palestine conflict, these people are so in their own bubble. They are so brainwashed and indoctrinated into one specific side of the equation and one specific way of thinking about it that they don't even understand that there is another. They just assume that if you disagree with them, you're literally seeing and hearing and thinking the same things that they are, but you just don't give a fuck. So when you disagree with them about, let's say, like I said last week about the Israel-Palestine thing, which I don't have a hardline opinion, as I mentioned before, but if you disagree with someone who's pro-Palestine on that issue, they don't assume that you're a person who's I kind of think about this, but you also have to consider this and blah, blah, blah. No, they think that you also are just seeing videos of dead Palestinian babies and you're just yeah, I just don't give a fuck. Fuck them. That's literally what they think. And that's why they're able to be so militant. Because that anger that you see from them is really an anger of ignorance. Because they really do think you're evil, because they really don't understand how anyone could disagree with them, because they really don't understand what they're talking about. And that's the trifecta of radicalizing a person. I digress. So this is what you're seeing when you have AOC, who has been the darling of the left. Yes, queen, coolest, hippest politician in all of the land. But she won't call what's going on in Israel and Palestine a genocide. It's that simple. You have to agree with us about everything. And here's the other thing. They literally just want her to say it's a genocide. They're not interested in having a conversation about it. That's a lot of times you see, hey, I just want to talk to you. Like, can you explain to me why you don't believe it's a genocide? Or did you hear about this thing going on yesterday? Blah, blah, blah. They're not interested in having a conversation where they might find out something from her that may make them rethink their opinion. They're not interested in that at all. They are literally interested in one thing and one thing only, and is you must say the thing. You must say the thing, AOC. Say the thing. It's a genocide. If you don't say it, then we can't support you. You have to say the thing. Do your cross. Kneel when the priest says whatever. You have to say the thing, and you're not saying it. So you can't be one of us. That's literally what it is. And I like situations like these because AOC has benefited from that exact same ideology. That's how she got where she has gotten, if that's a word. I'm still on the fence if gotten is a word. Feels like a word. It's used like a word. It's a word. She is where she is because of that. Because of pushing these exact same ideologies. But now she is experiencing the other edge of the sword. You know the saying, live by the sword, die by the sword. And this is the inevitability of this way of thinking. You have Looney Tunes like this following around that aren't interested in a conversation, aren't interested in intellectual debate. All they're interested in doing is catching you while you're out watching a movie or whatever the fuck you're doing and making you repeat the line. And I think this is ultimately what pushes people away. So I think it's a good thing because I know in the back of her mind, even though she can't say it publicly, she's sitting there thinking like, these motherfuckers are crazy. Like they don't want to hear. They wouldn't let me be. They think I'm a terrible person because I won't say what they want me to say. And that plants a seed in someone's mind. When you start to see it from that angle, you start to notice it. In a lot of places, you start to see that you've done it too. And anyone who has even the mildest level of introspective ability could potentially be coerced to change how they see the world once they begin experiencing the other side of it. Now, that's, of course, giving people like AOC the credit of hoping that they are that introspective to notice that. And maybe she is. I don't know. I hope she is. But yeah, I agree. I think this kind of stuff is it's threatening. It's intimidation is what it is, and it's bullying kind of. You know, I think if you're walking out of like the Senate House or whatever, then it's appropriate. I just don't know how I feel about when you catch these elected officials out in public, like at a bar or something like that. It just seems, I don't know. I don't like it when either side does it. I don't really like it when Alex Stein does it. I think when he does that type of shit, he just kind of undermines the points he's trying to make by being a fucking retard. I don't know. I just don't. I guess depending on the situation, it can make sense. Like, you know, like when Gavin Newsom was out at the French Laundry eating with a bunch of his like high level friends and stuff while the rest of California was in full lockdown and people weren't able to open their businesses or go out or anything. Yeah, that's a situation where if you see that happening, you should be allowed to go in that restaurant and be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're the governor of California. You're out here masks down, eating, at a restaurant with all your friends having a birthday party, wherever the hell it is, and I can't even go to fucking work. My kids can't go to school. That's a situation where you can do that. So yeah, maybe I rescind my previous thing. You have to use your judgment. Unfortunately, the majority of people that do shit like this are just doing it for personal clicks. They're doing it as an intimidation tactic, and more often than not, they don't make good fucking points. Just say it was a genocide. That's all I'm asking. That's not a good point. It's just a waste of time. You're wasting my time. And now I have taken this 1.5 minute video of my time that was wasted and turned it into 20 minutes of wasted time for whoever's listening to this. So thanks a lot. Guys, pretty decent show today, I think. We talked about some stuff. That's what we do here. Let's get into some Rook looks before we close out. We went 2 for 2 last night. We're killing it. We're back. We're up higher than we were 2 nights ago. Who do we have last? Yeah, Florida smacked Bama at home. Florida's home in Gainesville. 105-87. So that was a 1.15 unit win there. And the Pistons, the Pissed-Offs, plus 11.5 covers as well. Against the Heat, they only lost by 8, 118-110. So that's a 1.2 unit win there. That brings us back up and even higher to 5.7 units on the overall line. 38 bets so far, lifetime, which is exactly a 15% yield. 15% after 38 bets. That's pretty sweet, I gotta say. Tonight, a couple bonuses coming your way. A few, actually. First and foremost, there is a goal in the first 10 minutes bonus on DraftKings for the Detroit Red Wings versus Colorado Avalanche hockey game tonight, NHL. I believe it was at minus 190 when last I checked, boosted all the way up to plus 100. I have good luck with those. And it really is a solid boost. I mean, like I said before and 1,000 times, you're taking a thing that is more often than not a favored bet, which is a goal in the first 10 minutes. It's usually anywhere from minus 130 to minus 200. So it's on the side of being more likely to happen than not. And you're getting it at plus 100. That's a positive EV bonus. So I take those every time, and I feel like that's done well for me. So I recommend popping that in on DraftKings, that bonus. There's also, speaking of hockey, a 25% NHL boost on MGM as well. I don't really pay attention to hockey that much, so I just prefer to just make you aware that exists, and you can pop it on whatever you want, but I'm just here to let you know that it's there. So log into MGM and go ahead and knock yourself out with that. We don't count that in the Rook looks, though. I'm just, that one's on the house. FanDuel has a 30% NBA live boost tonight. Live boost, of course, you have to wait until the game starts to put your bet in. So, you got to be on the ball for this. I'm looking at the Rockets plus, last I checked, was plus 6.5 versus the Clippers. I guess I can check what the line is now. But yeah, I like that. No, I mean, Russell Westbrook is out for the Clippers, and Terry Eason looks like he's out for the Rockets, but nothing too significant. My model has it at like plus 2 for the Rockets, so I would just go anything above plus 2. The game starts at exactly 7:40. Remember, it always starts 10 minutes later than what they say it is because it's the NBA. So go ahead and lock in anything more than plus 2. I'd say throw that bonus bet on for the Rockets. And of course, the DK DraftKings clash on the court tonight is looking at the UConn at Marquette game. Should be a good game. Marquette does have a couple substantial injuries. So I do foresee UConn winning this pretty handily. That's already represented in the spread, of course, as well. I'm looking at under 151.5 for this, though. I like that. My model's showing like 149.6. I don't think the injuries are going to affect that too much. The line has been sitting pretty steadily around there. I don't see it going any higher than that. So I would go ahead and put that 50% boost on UConn Marquette under 151.5. Folks, best of luck to you. Happy Wednesday. We're more than halfway through the week at this point. Congratulations. Till tomorrow. Peace.